Well, hello there, it's Live Sleep Resin here, and how are you all doing? I hope you're really well. Again, bringing you something a little bit different. So today we are upcycling glass trinket trays, and my daughter is in the room, so we'll just see how far we get before she interrupts me. I'm suspecting it's not going to be long. Anywho, so I wanted to make some beach scenes for this particular, and I've got 3 of these. So I got a load of stuff from Beccie Newson at Resin Supplies Den, and she sells honestly all sorts. She sells seashells by the seashore. I'm not sure if she lives by the seashore. Ignore me. Yes, so number 1 I'm doing with white sparkle sand and various different shells. So this is kind of phase 1, and the balance in terms of sand to resin, you want to sort of make it into quite a paste. There it is. Okay, as I'm back. So Yvonne Bishop is the glitter queen, obviously, and I've just put a small amount in some clear resin and I'm pouring it in. And then I'm going to select some shells and arrange them on the little beach, as it were. Just could not stop looking at these. I think they're cut glass, these little dishes, and the 3 of them you can sort of arrange together, and they sort of form a sort of diamond shape. I think these are KK shells, I'm not sure, and little spiral shells. And of course there is the inevitable little starfish. Now the starfish are ethically sourced, and they are collected after storms, so they have already passed on, so we are honouring their memory, as it were, by encasing them in resin. So they're not sort of harvested or whatever, or killed, so I hear anyway. But yes, so apparently all of this is ethically sourced, so you can sleep easy in your beds. So this is number 2, and I am using the gold sparkle sand this time. And as you can see here, I'm also reusing a little, I think it was a mince pie foil case, which actually really helped keep all the little ingredients sort of separately. And so for the water this time, as it were, I'm using mylar flakes and some more clear resin, and just pouring that in, and then selecting some more shells. Any minute they're just coming, and I tried not to put too much on. Those are white dove shells, and again the spiral. I tried not to put too much on the beach because the focus was meant to be really on the sea. And yeah, I was just really pleased with just the sheer range, and I just knew these were going to be good, when you just get a feeling. And I was not wrong. You'll see when we, in inverted commas, do the demould, as it were, right at the end. And then this is the 3rd design, is to use black volcanic sand. And I cannot stress, when you're doing these beach scenes, do try not to add too much resin, because I did another one and I added way too much, and it didn't ruin it, but it just made it a lot more difficult. So just trying to create a different shape here with the beach, and adding some dove shells, white dove shells eventually, and again adding the rest of that resin with the mylar flakes for the sea part. And this is done in, I think it's 3 pours, so it did take quite a while to do, but honestly the results are so worth it. Nearly forgot to add the shells. It wouldn't have mattered too much, but I did remember. Yeah, I just get completely and utterly carried away, and in my head, well, actually just in the moment. I mean, for this is almost the perfect meditation for me, because I don't think about anything else. I just really focus on what I'm doing, and I find it so relaxing. So that is the first pour. Now this is the second pour, and I'm doing again mylar flakes along with the topaz green, the purple, cosmic purple, and the blue, and they are by Glasscast, and they're tints and pigments. So I thought I'd do like a combination of colours, and I was trying to make the blue a little bit lighter, and I wish I'd just left it as it was. So I just added in a spot of the white, but well, a few of them. Yeah, way too much. Anyway, you live and learn. I wish I hadn't really made that up because it made it a bit too opaque. So I wish I'd just kept them. Yeah, and then I'm just mixing that up because I don't like the colour too much. But it turned out all right. So yes, top tip next time, just leave them transparent, I think. Note to self. So now putting in obviously the turquoisey colour and then the darker blue in the top, just to sort of give the illusion that it's deeper water really. And then I'm adding some clear to try and keep the beach part sort of separate and quite clear. And then I'm just mucking around. I don't know why I'm adding that in, but I am, you know. Anyway, and then just to create a bit of a blend between colours, I'm just mixing it up a bit. And that's it for that one. And then here is where it starts to go a little bit wrong. So I'm totally in my head here, in the moment, and I've still not noticed that I've knocked the whole thing over. Oh God, and I'm still not. Oh, finally I notice, and then yes, there were definitely swear words, and I make a complete. I slowed this bit down, especially for you. I hope you appreciate. So when I say I'm a messy crafter, here is the proof. But anyway, so I'm desperately trying to clear this up, and I think in a bid to keep this a bit tidier, I think I pause the film in a minute too. And I'm just like, and then I knock it over again. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, no harm done. I scooped it all up. It just took a bit of time. With those little stirry things, they are just a godsend, I have to say, and I'm going to be getting some more, and they came from Resin Supplies Den as well. So you can see here I thought I'd create a purple and green kind of combo, because I'm upcycling another dish, doing an art exchange with my beautiful sister-in-law in Canada, Denise, and I'll be posting that video fairly soon. So this was kind of a practice run. So yes, here what I did was I added in a bit more pigment. So those glass cast are tints and pigments, so depending on what concentration you add. So I thought I'd just make it a little bit deeper and add some sort of depth to the pour. And I wish on this pour that I'd actually added some white and done some waves, because then it would have been another layer of depth in terms of the waves, but I didn't. I think I was running out of time. I always overextend myself. um, yeah, so that really is it. I can't remember what else I did here. Yeah, obviously the obligatory bit of swirling here. I should have just really left that, I think. But you live and learn. But the purple looks wicked, doesn't it? Of course, I don't think it stayed like that, but we will see in about 1 second. Here we go. So this is pour number 3, so you can see that the swirling didn't really stay. So this is my attempt to do kind of a wave bit, and I'm really not that experienced now. This gold is the glass cast gold tint stroke pigment, and I thought it would look really nice against the colours, and it did. But the resin I was using was Coty, or it's now called Rapids, from Vuba Vista, and it was too thick, I think, by this stage. So I think you really need a thinner viscosity resin to do waves with, so you can get a little bit of movement. And I did the same here. My aim was to do all 3, but I was really running out of resin. It was too thick, and I added way too much white here, way too much. So I didn't really like this, so I ended up it didn't matter what I was doing. The heat tool as well just has not got a long enough lead. So where I've got it plugged in, because I've got so much else plugged in, like I've got a heat mat and 2 lights, and yeah, so I ended up cleaning it up anyway. But just look at those colours. I mean, I just love that turquoise against the Mylar flakes. Doesn't it look beautiful? Ah, just so pretty. I'm really going to have difficulties letting go of these, I think. I might not be able to let them go. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, one of them, the one with the black, has actually got a massive chip out of the side, but I just kind of think they're perfectly imperfect. So, having learnt from the previous mistakes, this time I have done the resin, obviously, that has... So I used resin that was really fresh, so it's a lot more liquid. And what I also did was I added some alcohol ink, some Pinata alcohol ink, which I think also helps. Or you could just add a little bit of alcohol, I think, and it would probably work just as well, but I don't know. I will experiment and get back to you, because you know me, I do love a good experiment. But yes, so I am experimenting here. I have heard that you've got to be careful when you're doing this technique not to overheat. So there's very little heat that I added, because it will carry on moving afterwards, and you also need to be careful how much white you add. I still think that I added too much, and it kind of it can overpower the piece. Again, I don't think I added that much here, but really did take over in places. So you can get different effects as well by using your heat tool. So depending on whether you come down low, whether you've got a slow speed, whether you've got a high speed, whether you come down on top with it flat on the water, how often you use your torch, if you use your torch. There are all sorts of effects, and the best way really is just to have a play. It is just too much fun. And I have to say, with my very limited experience, the best effects I thought I got were actually very, very little heat and just a bit of a swell with a a pointed stick. But you'll see the results in a minute anyway, and obviously let me know in the comments which one you prefer, 1, 2 or 3. I would be very interested to know. And you can see here that I'm just giving it a bit of a swell. I'm very, very excited. Okay, so this is a demold, as it were, but I am over the moon with how well these came out. Look how much depth there is. So I'm definitely, once the shops reopen, I'm going to be looking for some more trinket dishes. It's a lovely way of upcycling. So this one dried on a bit of an angle like that, but that's all right. I think it looks quite good. Again, lots of depth with those mylar flakes. And then this one I think is my favourite. And I barely warmed this up. Barely warmed it up and just gave it a little swirl. So yeah, I'm really pleased with these. So thank you so much for joining me at your very overexcitable Live Sleep Resin.